Welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio. So glad to be here with you. Monday night, we have a lot to cover. I mean, we could do a lot tonight. First off, what's the scoop? The scoop is NARAL partnering with a ice cream facility in Oregon. What's the Scoop PDX by offering ice cream pints for sale for a limited time only. And one of the new custom flavors that NARAL has decided to choose is Rocky Row v. Wade. I'm guessing, it's the Rocky Road. But it's almost like the ice cream is a gag or a hit at Roe, who, in the landmark case, Jane Roe, who once she became a Christian, and the Daily Caller had focused on this, that whenever Norma McCorvey, which is her real name, upon knowing God, realized that her case, which legalized abortion on demand, was the biggest mistake of her life. I'd say so. I'd say it's one of the most tragic decisions that she has made. And I feel sorry for her. I mean, I know she's passed away, but to be on that case had to be absolutely heartbreaking. And all you can do is, once you find God, is continue to pray. Pray. And for organizations to support this, I mean, it's in Portland, and they are running a limited time. It was August 13th through August 26th, and it's a fundraiser to help defend reproductive freedom. And we've talked about reproductive freedom. What is reproductive freedom? Reproductive freedom is being able to kill a baby on demand. Someone I know had really pushed this story and kind of got it going. It went over to the Daily Wire. It's Jonathan Lockwood. God bless your heart for getting this out there, because it's a disgusting thing to have an abortion themed ice cream. I mean, when is enough to be able to leave our ice cream alone? I mean, I'm a fluffy guy. I like my ice cream. Why is a disgusting organization like NARAL getting in? Oh, I know why. It's to continue the, quote, resistance to the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. And, we are in the abortion mecca of the United States here in Oregon. I mean, a little over a year ago, Kate Brown, who's up for election in November, signed bills to what I call the credit card for abortion, which, if you're an undocumented immigrant, if you have no money, if you have a lot of money, it is covered. Come on over to Oregon and get those babies killed, because that's what they support here. Not a lot of people, but a large amount of the electorate do support that. And I like to see it up for a vote and see what the numbers are. But it'll never do, because I think it would get broken down. It would get destroyed, from my opinion. That's just my opinion. But just remember, if you're not in Portland, you can still get your pint of Rocky Row v. Wade shipped directly, according to Grayson Dempsey, Oregon's NARAL local leader. The pints will be ready in September 13th through the 21st at What's the Scoop at 3540 North Williams Avenue in Portland, Oregon. And I can tell you what, nothing says taking a woman's heart-rending decision on how to handle an unplanned pregnancy seriously, like an issuing an abortion ice cream flavor, of course. And Lockwood, Jonathan Lockwood, took Dempsey to task for trivializing a very serious issue. Dempsey got defensive. When told the event was, quote, disgusting, Dempsey responded by accusing Lockwood of, quote, shaming women and, quote, terrorizing a local business. Well, so freedom of speech is not, and we'll talk about that later on with our friend Jack Dorsey over at Twitter, who likes to put people in timeout. But so getting on Twitter and calling the moral failure of abortion is terrorizing a business and shaming women. I'm trying to see where I can get this, because the Bill of Rights is pretty clear with freedom. But, you know, some of on the left, some on the right are going to tell you that, you know, we should ban people that we don't agree with. I mean, right now, I've talked to a family member who's a progressive, and I sent him something about this show, and he's, you know, sent it back the typical stuff. I don't want to listen to you. I don't care. Good luck. So-and-so's local political. And then we got to talking about Alex Jones. And he was completely okay with him being banned. So I wonder, I would ask Grace and Dempsey, would you be okay with Mr. Lockwood being banned from Twitter, from Facebook, from any of his social media accounts for challenging you? Because I think he has the right to. He absolutely has the right, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely one of the things that, I have some quotes from him. He I'm all for local business. I'm all being supportive of local stuff. I really, truly do. I do local youth sports. I thrive for the local stuff. But just like the art gallery that a month or so ago had the explicit F word up about Trump, it had his head, and they had a picture of it, some art of cutting his head off, and the social media mob went after them and trying to shut them down. Whether you agree with it or not, they have a right. They have a right. But I also have a right, and I have a right to be on the social media. I have the right to refuse to do business with him. Okay? Refuse to. And I encourage everyone, go on there, on Twitter, and tell them that you will never order from them. You will never purchase from them. And I wonder if they will rethink their business that way. I'm not the type of person, an eye for an eye, a fist for a fist, but you're making light of the serious situation that 50 to 60 million babies have died since 1973. We talk about the war on women. We talk about that's a war right there. 50 to 60 million. There's no for sure number. But the scare tactics that will be used to promote this is we are defending the rights of women. What about the rights of the newborn? What about the rights of people fathers that have had no choice, that want to have that baby, but the mother has gone and decided to make a very disgusting decision, in my opinion. There's adoption. There's all kinds of different things. I mean, I could tell you story after story after story of people I've met, experiences, friends. Yet, the outrage that is all over what you see social media, because we're in 2018 and social media is how people stay connected. This is how I get my show out to you. And follow me on Twitter at Oregon Redskin. I mean, I'm pretty active, and I've been trying to stay very active on the Twitter to, fight against people that are so absurd. And I tweeted out, because I was searching the social media, and I found this lady that is on the hashtag Rise Up for Roe at the Vegas event, because that's a big thing going on this week. And just because, and she quotes, I think how you pronounce her name is Mariette Lynn. Quote, just because abortion may become illegal doesn't mean it will end. It will just become deadly, end quotes. So I was stopped in my tracks. I looked at that, I read it again, and I go, wait a minute. It will just become deadly. So I retweeted and tagged her, and I said, quote, become deadly? Abortion consists of the killing of an unborn baby. Where is the fairness in the baby's opportunity for life? Question mark. I encourage you, go on, retweet it, like it. Where's the fairness? I want to use their own language against them. Where is the fairness for the opportunity of life? Where is it? Right now, pro-choice crowd thinks that the Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, is going to end abortion. The Iowa lawsuit or bill that is basically a step to take it to the Supreme Court, the heartbeat bill, would only intensify our fight more, because it would criminalize it at the federal level, and it would be a state rights issue, and states should be able to fight it. And I tell you what, I would be on the front lines fighting against it day in and day out. You would see a dramatic shift. I would be, and I stand for life every single day. Don't get me wrong, every single day. I work in a secular, progressive environment every single day, and I have these conversations. And I'm more than willing to have a conversation with anyone. And my coworkers know of what I do. A lot of them do. And I enjoy having these kind of conversations. It's like when we were in church this weekend, and one of our pastors says, I like sitting in an airplane next to atheists. He goes, I thank you, God. I thank God for letting me speak with people that are pro-choice, to try and explain to them. I've had someone say, well, I'm pro-choice, but I'm pro-life. What? That's the irony right there. Is that an oxymoron? You're pro-choice, but you're pro-life. Button heads right there. There's no possibility of that. Oh, I support a woman's right to choose. I support a woman's right to choose. Okay, well, what about the baby's choice? What about the baby's choice for life? You tell me. So a little more background on Jane Roe. She passed away in 2017, last year, early on, and she was 69. And in an ad from 2018, as the Catholic news agency noted, McCorvey detailed her change of views on abortion after she became a Christian in the mid-90s. And she goes on to say, quote, you see, abortion has eliminated 50 million innocent babies. The lady that was on the Supreme Court that was used for the disaster case that has killed 50 to 60 million babies regrets, check that out, innocent babies in the U.S. alone, and since 1973. Abortion scars an untold number of post-abortive mothers and fathers and families too, end quote. I mean, that's powerful right there. I don't know about for you, but for me, it just makes my heart cringe. And it's, I've been in church where a lady has got up and gave her testimony that when she was young, she didn't know what to do. Before she was married, she was scared. She didn't know if this child that she was pregnant with would have a good life, would be successful. She listed off the many situations that she had, and one thing that really stuck at me is the thing that she went over and over about. The regret that was in her heart and that she feels every single day. Every single day for the rest of her life that she's felt, what if? And I think she had 3 or 4 more kids. I think it was 3 kids after that. But just one, the regret, the hurt, the pain, I've seen people lose their children before they were even in their 60s. I've seen people who've been pregnant and lost a child during the pregnancy. I've talked to people that had troubles in their pregnancies and gave birth to a baby early and it was getting better, and then unfortunately God took the baby home. I mean, I've had conversations, I've hugged people, I've talked to them. And it breaks your heart. It absolutely breaks your heart. And to me, if I was, quote, if you don't see me, I'm doing my air quotes, Jane Roe, I would have went to my deathbed crying. And I would like to have been on her side to hear, even the last year, talk to her. She was 69, so she was competent. She was able to communicate. I would dig deep into it with her. Man, it in places like NARAL and where is the where did it go? The name of the place. See, that's how much what's the scoop PDX. Go on Twitter, follow me at Oregon Redskin, and retweet, comment, send as many messages over to what is the scoop PDX, and let them know that you, as a pro-life person, are not going to support something as vile as that. The celebration of a Supreme Court case that started the death of 50 million innocent babies, as Jane Roe had discussed. I've got to take a break. I'm up against the clock, and just take a breather. We will be back on the other side of the break. But do me a favor, follow me at Twitter, at Oregon Redskin, and at Common Sense Radio on Facebook.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Aklavane and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Aklavane and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savitvarda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
And welcome back to the program, folks. Hey, do me a favor. Follow me on the social media. I think since we're talking about some pretty vile things, I want to stick with the story out of the Reno Gazette-Journal. If you haven't heard of Burning Man, go to Google right now, hit Google, and type in Burning Man. You will find a large section of stuff that you wish you could bleach your eyes and not have seen. So the Reno Gazette starts with the incredible title of #MeToo at Burning Man. The cracks in consent culture on Playa. And if you don't know, Burning Man is this annual event that takes place about 100 miles north of Reno. It's in the middle of the desert, and between Reno and where you get to what they call Playa, is the area, you have to go through some tribal land. And there were some reports out that the tribal police are stepping up patrol in between and pulling over everybody, or if not everybody, threatening most of them. I'm hoping they're doing, maybe handing out condoms, handing out Bibles to the people. I mean, that would be great. I'm not sure. I haven't communicated with anyone, but be interesting to find out. So with the hashtag #MeToo, the movement that has started and changed the world, Cordy, you have people like Alyssa Milano going in the Handmaid's Tale outfit and just screaming how this movement is changing the world. So where was she before this hashtag #MeToo movement? She's an opportunist, and she used it to push her agenda. Where was she about Burning Man? I bet you she's someone that went to Burning Man. And Burning Man has what they like to call the, quote, orgy dome. It's one of the most notoriously kinky landmarks at Burning Man, even though a majority of the 80,000 people at the event never visit it or even notice it when bicycling by. And that's a big thing, bicycling in. You see all these people bicycling into the entrance, and then you see all these celebrities driving their RVs over. I mean, it's pretty well documented whenever someone like Paris Hilton rode her $1 million driving RV over in. And it's funny because in Black Rock City, a lot of burners like to play, touch, and get to know each other in an intimate fashion. And the Orgy Dome is just one of the places on Playa. I just love that. Yeah. You going to Playa? Yeah, we're going to Playa. We're going to Playa, yo. Where you can do so. So what does it mean to play, touch, and get to know each other in an intimate fashion? I've never dealt with anything like that. So, fist bump, knock, elbow, boom, boom. What does that mean? I mean, I think you know what I mean. It's sexual, it's promiscuous lifestyle, which I just can't support anything like that. And this article goes on. At camps all over the temporary city, there are opportunities to learn how to flog a partner during, quote, open dungeon play. Ooh, open dungeon play. I'd hate to see what happens at closed dungeon play. Or my favorite is, or get sponged on a, quote, human body wash. But burners also get a, quote, naughty nude portrait. I don't even like looking at myself in the mirror with my shirt off, okay? I can assure you I'm not going to have something as disgusting as that. And I wouldn't take it in front of anyone. Or print of their privates in the traditional Japanese method of gayote. Burners are doing what they want to do, but it's not a free-for-all, said Donna Ray Watson, director of the Bureau of Erotic Discourse, a large camp at Burning Man that teaches burners about sex, the key being consensual. Well, most of the people, it's not what I would say where you'd have hors d'oeuvres, where you'd have, the classy people at a thing called Burning Man that's 100 miles out in the desert where you're camping, and a majority of people, you got to wear those ski goggles over your eyes because of the windstorms that go on. But you can go to open dungeon play. You can go to have the body wash. So human body wash. That doesn't sound like something you get at the local spa. I'm going over getting a feet wash, a human body wash. So is that another person washing your body with their naked self? That's pretty a visual I do not need. But the director of the Bureau of Erotic Discourse says they have a camp there to teach people about consensual sex. How many people out of the 80,000 people that go to Burning Man, probably what they call them as newbies, probably are going around checking that? Oh, okay. What's your thought process of buying tickets? You can buy tickets for anywhere from $190 to $1,200 to go sleep in the sand. No, thank you. No, thank you. And this article goes on. Since last year's burn, that must be the hip language you use. Hey, did you go to the burn on Playa? Yeah. I was at the close and open dungeon play. Yeah. My goodness. The hashtag MeToo movement jolted the landscape of sexual relations everywhere. Millions of people, primarily women, and I think that is absolutely disgusting that they assumed gender right there. Have talked openly about their experiences of sexual harassment, assault, and even rape as a result. The burner community has been long talking about consent, but burners on the front line of the discussion will admit that the burner community is struggling with issues of sexual harassment and sometimes worse issues, as much as the rest of the world. Now, perhaps more than ever. Oh, so they're struggling with sexual harassment and abuse. Most people that go to these burns on Playa aren't going just for the open dungeon play. They're going for the closed dungeon play. I can assure you that. They're doing drugs. They're doing stuff that you wouldn't dream of if you've cracked open the Holy Bible. That's one thing you will not be doing, is going to a burn. I have no desire in my life. Burning Man does lay out a set of informal rules for burners, about half of whom are relatively new to the event each year. In recent years, the organization has been more vocal about consent, what it means, and what it applies to. Burning Man's on-site sexual assault services department receives between 5 and 20 reports of alleged sexual assault each year, according to Burning Man spokesman Jim Graham. So between 5 and 20 reports. So out of 80,000 people, there's only between 5 and 20. Is that an average over, I don't know, since the beginning of, since what was it, 83, 86, something like that? Let's pull up this website. I got Burning Man's website. It's got the event, the culture, the network. First time at Burning Man, the man, I like how it says, the man burns in 12 days. 12 days. They have 10 principles. The timeline, the Burning Man timeline, explored the rich history from the early years to the present. 86, I was right. Okay. So what they're doing is from 1986, so 90, so over 30 years, 32 years, they've averaged 5 to 20. I would say that's not a bad, seeing you had 80,000 people. And I'm not condoning it. I'm not here showing support of some vile situations, but I would say out of 80,000 people, trust me, I pray and hope it's zero. But they've laid out the 10 principles, and this year, or they said back in 2012, they added a new one, a new principle, which was Principle 11, consent. But let me go over the 10 principles, and this will just open your mind up to the type of disgusting stuff that goes on at Burn, on Playa, you know. I'm pretty hip, man. The Burn on Playa, yo. Radical inclusion. Gifting. Decommodification. Radical self-reliance. Radical self-expression. Before I go any further, did you notice radical out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, out of the first 5, radical. I'm wondering if some of these people are with Antifa. I wonder if between, what is the date? August 26th and September 3rd, all the Antifa people, you'll see no news reports. I mean, that's just an assumption right there. It would be funny if we could really scour the news for that. Because maybe Antifa was just getting ready for the burn on Playa, you know? Could be. Communal effort, civic responsibility, leaving no trace. I mean, finally, two good things: civic responsibility and leaving no trace. Oh, here we go. Participation, and no, there's no trophies. Just going to the burn is your trophy. And then immediacy. And then, of course, number 11, consent. Consent to smack someone. Consent to hug someone. Consent to... And that's what the 11th principles was used to. Not just for sex, but any kind of touch, any gift, including food and drink, and also photography. They are prepping for this year's event. And a variety of camps have boosted efforts to teach burners about consent and the scope that it can encompass. The efforts are only expected to grow this year since the hashtag #MeToo thrust consent in the spotlight. See, you know, consent is very important. You know, whenever I'm going to a business, I get consent whenever I give them $5 and they're giving me the item. That's consent. But they're talking about touching, sex. They're talking about even taking pictures. You have to have consent. But they did. Burning Man organizers sent an email to all ticket holders this year reminding them that consent is needed. Well, today is the 20th, so this week people are preparing to go to the burn on Playa. And maybe it's something that more than just a hashtag, or an email could promote, consent. I don't know. Maybe that's a little much for me to ask, but who am I to ask? But hey, I can't believe it's that time for a break again. And on the other side, we're going to talk freedom of speech. We're going to talk Twitter and the Poop Patrol. I can't wait for that. I just cannot wait for the Poop Patrol. You're listening to Common Sense Radio.
Check out lumberlax.com. Lumberlax is a lacrosse company started by an 11-year-old Kai Talley in Beaverton, Oregon. This kid plays lacrosse and uses the money he makes to help other less fortunate kids play. He partners with nonprofits to give money to kids that can't physically play the game at his level or any level due to special needs or illness. This is an amazing thing that he is doing, and he is extremely involved in his community and proud that he does this. Take a look at the website www.lumberlac.com or email them directly at lumberlac@comcast.net and order a custom shaft for yourself or someone else. They also do coaches gifts, team sticks. They work with people to do fundraisers and so much more. They are proud sponsors of Common Sense Radio with AJ Davis. Please check out lumberlax.com.
What's important to you? Going with the mob? Freedom of speech? Or trying to silence someone? Or cheering on the silence of someone that you disagree with? I don't know about you, but to me, it's tough to support people like Alex Jones, to support people like Van Jones, to support people that Al Sharpton, for instance, REISCP. I mean, you cannot make up what he said. But anyways, I want to see that where he misspelled respect completely all over the Twitter. I don't want him banned. If this was a conservative or a Republican, I mean, I'm not a Republican, but a site or a platform. And that's the main question that I have for Twitter tonight. And the resurgent, Eric Erickson site has a fantastic point. Twitter, Facebook, all you social media, this is for YouTube and all that. Are you a platform or are you a publisher? Because those are two completely different things. If you're a platform, you're not held accountable. You are not, you can't control everything that everyone says. And that's what these sites intended originally to be. I mean, I absolutely tweet, publish. I mean, look at Facebook, publish. But I also find it interesting that on Instagram, let me pull it up. Let me pull up Instagram real quick, because Facebook owns Instagram. And before I go any further, I think that would be something. Yeah, see, he's on. That's so weird. So you ban him from Facebook, but he's allowed on Instagram. How does that work? How does that work? Anyways, back to like what we said with them, platform or publisher. And Mark Giller, who writes for The Resurgent, has this excellent piece, and he goes on to say about Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act as a way of encouraging innovation and growth in a fledgling internet. At the most basic level, the section states, quote, the provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as a publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. So, So back, right, I mean, that says it right there. Platform or publisher? I mean, why do we people sit back and not support this kind of stuff? Because people are standing up for Gavin McInnes. They're standing up for... You should be standing up for anyone. I'm telling you this right now. Speech is the most important, fundamental, God-given right that you have. And some people aren't able to speak and would not stop talking if they were able to. That's why I'm empowering you. I'm begging you right now to go on and show support. Because this week, on August 17th, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, went on with Lester Holtz to discuss, because Twitter's all in the news right now. He went on to discuss a little bit more about Alex Jones, and this was frightening. I mean, what's next? Who makes him the arbiter of truth? Who makes him the head of the re-education camp? You tell me. Jack Dorsey on Wednesday defended the company's decision this week to put InfoWars' Alex Jones in a 7-day, quote, timeout after Jones urged his viewers to ready their, quote, battle rifles against the media. Come on. He said the frogs are gay, and you're worried about him putting a tweet out? I mean, come on. Come on. I can go on Twitter and find 100,000 more things that are more offensive than that. And who gives Jackie Boy, the right to be the head of the timeout line? You tell me. Okay? Dorsey later clarified on Twitter that he was speaking broadly about a range of enforcement actions with regard to the company's use of timeout. I don't assume everyone will change their actions. Enforcement gets tougher with further reported violations, end quote, tweeted. You know, this is a Twitter, and Twitter's free. I love Twitter. I love Facebook. But you need to tweet at them. You need to send a message to Mark Zuckerberg. Freedom of speech matters. Freedom matters. And I think it's one of the things that troubles me is when you have somebody, some elitist that runs these platforms that are very popular, that comes out and says, he essentially said, we can change their behavior based on timeouts. I mean, timeouts. My 4-year-old goes to timeout. My 10-year-old doesn't go to timeouts. You know? What's a timeout on social media going to do to you? It helps with the behavior? What? Give me a freaking break. That's absurd to me. It's absurd. It's another thing that's absurd. Continue to tweet if you haven't. That's absurd to me. You need to keep freedom. Just tweet #freedom. It's what matters. It's the only thing that we are going to do to continue the wonderful idea as America. America is an idea of freedom, of hope throughout the world. We're going to have, and this was a freedom thing. Thomas Tramglini, the superintendent of the New Jersey Public Schools, he had the freedom to do this. I mean, it wasn't a great idea. He was a serial pooper. And Cassie Dillon writes an excellent piece on him, and she calls him the pooper intendant. He was given a generous heap of cash after leaving heaps of his own on school grounds. I mean, he has an average salary of $147,000 a year. I mean, it's probably tough to be able to find some bathrooms, and you probably don't even have indoor plumbing at $147,000 a year. I mean, that's a tough life to live on. I understand that. I'm sorry. It's struggles, It's the struggle of life. But, he'll be paid over $100,000 after his suspension in May for his full salary, 2 months of severance pay, and $23,000 in unused vacation days. He was defecating in public at Hummeldale High School football field and track after weeks and weeks of school staffs discovering these feces on the unusual suspect's dumping ground. After security cameras were installed, it was revealed that the superintendent was a serial pooper. So, I don't know how big this school district is, but don't you think he would have the insight on all that kind of stuff? People would, if they're seeing him at the track, if they're seeing him at the field, maybe getting his workout in. No big deal, running around in May. That's a hell of a severance pay. 2 months salary on top of $23,000 for unused vacation. And he's getting all this after being an idiot, pooping all over the school district that you're making $147,000. I mean, I'm sure he could have signed off for a couple. Okay. Call me crazy. I am picky, but I do like to use indoor plumbing. I know. Even porta potties are kind of disgusting to me, but if I have to, I will. But the superintendent, so he's the head of the school district. Couldn't he sign off? Hey, get some porta potties over there. I need one. I had to go under the bleachers. I mean, if he came out, you could almost laugh at something like that. Okay, at least he was honest. He made the situation, but they're describing him as a serial pooper. I've got a problem with that. Being a guy that works in a school and would have to clean that stuff up, I clean up enough dog feces on a school property. I mean, schools are notorious. Dogs just go all over, going to the bathroom here, going to the bathroom there. They don't care. It's to see an adult, especially the head of the school district, doing something like that. Just poop patrol. That's what we need at the New Jersey school. I mean, San Francisco is getting it. It's no laughing matter, as the San Francisco Chronicle reports. San Francisco is forming a poop patrol to keep sidewalks clean. And if you haven't heard, San Francisco is notorious for having poop all over the city. Have you been living under the rock? Well, fear not, because AJ with Common Sense Radio is here to inform you. It's a number one complaint among the residents of San Francisco. And City Hall has come with a new way to deal with number two, which is the filthy sidewalks is the number one complaint. Number two is there's too much poop on them. And you might think this is some laughing matter, but I kid you not, folks, this is all serious. I wanted to make sure that you were prepared with the facts this week. In a city where people called 311 to report feces a whopping 14,597 times between January 1st and Monday morning, public piles of poop are serious business. For the record, that's about 65 calls regarding sidewalk poop every day, and it's 2,427 more calls on the stinky subject than were made in the same time period last year. So it hasn't went down. We have serial poopers in San Francisco and in New Jersey. It's just continued to go up. I mean, that's pretty gross that the city has to create what they call in 2018 we're talking about serial poopers in San Francisco and in New Jersey. But the city had allotted a sliver of their budget of $11 billion. Well, their budget's $11 billion. They're allotting $1 million to construct 5 pit stops, public toilets, and expand operating hours at 5 existing locations. I've been to San Francisco, and I never knew this happened. But this was also 10, 15 years ago. So San Francisco has these public restrooms, or they're called pit stops. I'm so sorry. I want to make sure I'm factual. And they're for what they like to say, unhoused neighbors. Is that the new terminology? Unhoused neighbors? Okay. Well, in McMinnville, Oregon, we have a bunch of unhoused neighbors that are living in RVs up and down the streets where we enter to the soccer fields at Joe Dancer Park. Okay, but in San Francisco, the unhoused neighbors, they have a monitor that goes in, and a gentleman who has been a monitor from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. says, as long as you're nice to people, usually there's no issues to come back out. He said he's seen people go in there fully clothed and come out in just their socks. These people have mental illness. We've got to figure a way out, and not government, but people like you and me, to help these homeless people, these people that are hurting. I mean, it's so bad. They're poop. I mean, you've got to be struggling to be pooping on the sidewalk. I mean, I remember was it last year or the year before, I was on jury duty, and I'm coming out of the courthouse where there's a parking garage across the street, and I'm parked up on the second floor. I'm turning to walk up these stairs, and I look over and I just see this homeless guy. I'm like, oh, what's he doing? He's right next to the stairs where many women had went before me and had come in after me from jury duty. He's there with his pants wide open, using the restrooms. See, I don't think just Oregon, I don't think California, I think the mental health issue is running rampant all over the United States. I think it's something that's becoming more and more of an issue that we all need to come together, pray for them. We need to continue to provide food for them to help, even clothes. I mean, just think about it when you're in your house and you're freezing. It's 45 degrees in the middle of winter, and these homeless people are in these shelters for how long? Overnight, but then they got to get up and leave in the morning. I mean, imagine being in that 47 degree weather while you're in your sweatpants, your sweatshirt. Woo! I need to put a t-shirt on because it's so hot. I mean, these people have mental illness. It's absolutely sad the conditions these people are living in. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to tell you where you can find me out on social media. On the Twitter, at Oregon Redskin, at least for today, until Jack decides to put me in a timeout. On Facebook, facebook.com/Common Sense Radio. That's where I post the video, I post everything on there. Spreaker.com, Common Sense Radio. We're on Castbox. We are on, I think, everything. iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, SoundCloud, you name it, you can find this program. And I'm just so thankful for you. And we'll end this like we end it every week. God bless you. God bless America.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.